Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please hit the subscribe. Now this start video. Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 10, titled Chaos Theory, is an episode that offers both resolution and frustration. While it does successfully tie up Joe Cruz's ongoing personal dilemma and his emotional journey following the Humboldt Park fire, the overall episode feels like it's missing the emotional punch viewers expect. The chaotic elements of the episode, as promised by the title, are indeed apparent, but the show seems to falter in balancing its major and minor storylines. It's an episode that delivers a resolution, but one that might leave fans wanting more. As the episode picks up from the events of Season 13, Episode 9, A Favor, viewers find Joe Cruz still reeling from the aftermath of the Humboldt Park fire, which tragically resulted in the death of his friend Junior Polanco. Cruz's emotional turmoil is front and center as he wrestles with whether or not to confess to the shooting that killed Junior's cousin, Flaco. The audience is invested in Cruz's inner conflict, and it is clear from the beginning that this episode will be a critical turning point for him. Cruz's storyline, while undeniably important, feels somewhat predictable. It's a relief when the character finally comes to terms with his situation, but the resolution happens quickly and lacks the tension one might expect from such a serious narrative. Cruz's decision to confess to Chicago PD's Kevin Atwater is a powerful one, but viewers don't get to fully experience this moment. Instead, the scene skips over his confession, with Cruz later meeting a random state's attorney who informs him that he won't face any criminal charges. This quick resolution feels like a missed opportunity to explore the emotional weight of the moment, leaving the audience to imagine what could have been. While Cruz's suspension by Chief Pascal is another key moment, it feels anticlimactic, as fans know that Cruz will return soon, especially with the upcoming One Chicago crossover looming. The suspension itself lacks the punch it could have had, knowing full well that Cruz won't be absent for long. This decision also feels like a setup to move Cruz's arc along and get him in position for the events of the crossover, rather than being a true moment of consequence. Nevertheless, the performances from Joe Minoso, Cruz, and Taylor Kinney, Severide, elevate the material. Their chemistry remains one of the show's strongest elements, with Severide's unwavering support for Cruz offering a heartwarming moment in an otherwise tense storyline. Kinney's portrayal of Severide as a steadfast friend and professional adds depth to the episode and reinforces the bond between the two characters. Cruz's decision to lean on Severide for support is a powerful one, and the way the two actors play off each other makes this a memorable moment, despite the storyline's rushed nature. While Cruz's personal journey takes center stage, the rest of Firehouse 51 seems to take a backseat. The episode often feels like a collection of unfinished subplots rather than a cohesive ensemble piece. One of the more notable sideline characters is Stella Kidd, who has returned after a brief absence. Stella's subplot, in which she helps a teacher navigate the chaos caused by tear gas and pepper spray at a community center, never fully develops. The premise is interesting, but the execution leaves much to be desired. Her interactions with the teacher, Amy, are brief and lack the emotional depth necessary for the storyline to resonate. As a result, the audience doesn't feel the connection between the two characters, and the subplot feels more like a placeholder than a meaningful contribution to the episode. Similarly, Christian Stoltz's character, Mouch, is conspicuously absent in this episode. As a longtime fixture of Chicago Fire, Mouch's absence is felt, especially since his absence seems part of a larger trend of reducing the number of episodes in which actors appear. This decision might be a result of budget cuts or simply a need to streamline the cast, but it's a shame that Mouch, a beloved character, is relegated to the sidelines in this episode. The comedic subplot involving Darren Ritter and Christopher Herman also falls flat. Ritter, frustrated with driving Herman around, assumes that Herman has tanked his rideshare rating. This subplot had the potential to be hilarious, especially given Herman's penchant for meltdowns and Ritter's growing exasperation. However, the episode ultimately opts for a fake-out, revealing that Ritter is the one responsible for the poor rating. While the idea could have been funny, the execution feels lackluster, and it doesn't have the payoff that fans might have hoped for. The show often shines in its comedic moments, but this subplot feels like a missed opportunity. One of the most noticeable aspects of Chaos Theory is its role as a bridge to the highly anticipated One Chicago crossover event. With the crossover looming in the following episode, Chaos Theory feels like a placeholder designed to wrap up certain plot points and set the stage for the larger, more dramatic events ahead. The episode seems to be clearing the decks, knowing that the crossover will require attention on a much grander scale. This preparation affects the pacing of the episode, as the focus shifts away from character development and more towards logistical setup. The episode doesn't allow for the same level of emotional payoff or character growth that some earlier episodes in the season have offered. Cruz's arc, while satisfying in its own way, feels like it's been condensed to make room for the impending crossover, which leaves viewers with a sense of unfulfilled potential. The suspension of Cruz, a central plot point, feels like a plot device designed to give Cruz a moment of personal reflection before the crossover throws the characters into chaos. The writers, aware of the need to focus on the larger crossover event, might have sacrificed some of the finer moments in Cruz's emotional journey in favor of pushing the characters forward into the crossover storyline. One of the strengths of Chicago Fire is its ability to balance personal stories with high-stakes drama. While Chaos Theory provides a resolution to Cruz's internal battle, it doesn't quite satisfy in terms of dramatic escalation. The impending crossover understandably puts a damper on the pace of this episode, and many of the series' hallmark moments, particularly in terms of tension and high-emotion conflict, feel muted in comparison. For viewers who are invested in the smaller, character-driven moments, this episode might leave a sense of unfulfilled potential. Cruz's suspension and the resolution of his arc, while poignant, are almost overshadowed by the looming anticipation of what's to come in the crossover. Additionally, there's a clear sense of the show trying to juggle its ensemble cast, which results in certain characters feeling underutilized. Characters like Mouch, who has been a steady presence throughout the series, missing in action here, contribute to the feeling that this is more of a transitional episode than a standalone piece. Chicago Fire has often shown when it gives its characters room to breathe and develop, but Chaos Theory didn't allow for much space to explore the nuanced relationships between the Firehouse crew, leaving some fans yearning for more from characters who didn't get their moment to shine. In the grand scheme of things, while Chaos Theory may not be the most gripping episode of Chicago Fire, it does its job in pushing Cruz's story forward, providing a stepping stone into the larger narrative of the crossover. As with many long-running shows, episodes like this serve a dual purpose, providing resolution while preparing the ground for future events. Fans of Cruz and Severide's dynamic can take solace in their emotional connection, while hoping that future episodes will dive deeper into the characters who were sidelined here. A mixed bag with potential overall. Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 10, Chaos Theory, is an episode that provides a resolution to Joe Cruz's storyline, but falls short of delivering the emotional impact that the setup promised. The character-driven moments between Cruz and Severide are the highlights of the episode, offering depth and nuance to both characters. However, the rest of Firehouse 51 is largely underutilized, and the subplots fail to develop into anything particularly compelling. The episode also feels like it's largely a transitional piece, laying the groundwork for the upcoming One Chicago crossover. While this is understandable, it detracts from the overall experience of the episode. Fans may leave the episode feeling like they were given a resolution, but one that was a little too quick and a little too anticlimactic. In the end, while Chaos Theory succeeds in providing closure for Cruz and setting up future events, it doesn't live up to the high expectations that Chicago Fire fans are used to. The emotional moments are there, but they feel rushed, and the episode's chaos seems to have been more of a narrative choice than a truly effective execution. Despite its shortcomings, Chaos Theory sets the stage for what will surely be a thrilling crossover, leaving viewers hoping that future episodes can recapture the magic that made this show so captivating in the first place.